Hi. What is the worst horror film you've ever seen?
Long term.
Do you like horror films?
Not really.
What do you dislike about them?
Um, I don't like. The thing I don't like about them is they're too jumpy. Like,
How often do you watch horror films?
I don't really watch horror films that much. To be fair,
Who do you watch them with normally?
I usually watch them with my friends if I have to.
Where do you usually watch them and why?
I usually watch them with I don't know, like just with my friend, like anyone's house, my friend's house or my house. Just
What other genres do you watch other than horror films?
I would generally like watch action, comedy, things like that.
What about horror film appeals to you when you do watch them?
I like gory scenes, like blood and stuff.
And what's your favourite horror film that you've seen?
Probably Saw, something like that. It's not really. It's kind of a horror, really. But, so I like Saw.
Thank you.
Do you like the genre horror?
Yes, I do.
What do you think should be in an opening title sequence of a horror movie?
I quite like an opening sequence that doesn't give too much away, but it's you've kind of got a clue to it, almost like a mood board of images that kind of leads you into it, rather than giving you the whole story before you've even watched it. If that makes sense.
Okay, which is your favorite horror movie and why?
It's probably Strangers. I like how they've changed the concept of horror movie because it's the idea of someone outside of the house coming in rather than something already been in the house and it already been a haunted house or something like that. So it's the notion of outsiders looking in, which kind of unnerves you a little bit.
Okay, how can horror movies be improved, in your opinion?
Not having there's too many obvious stereotypes throughout horror movies. For instance, you've got the girl who, kind of the blonde girl that goes towards the danger, which there's obviously something there, like she's going to go towards it, something's going to happen. There's too many cliches in them. I'd rather have them twisted and a bit more surprises through it rather than going, oh, I know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, okay. Of which is your favorite movie of all time when it comes to the genre horror of all time?
Might be probably Rose Red, which is quite an older film.
Well, that's good. Thank you very much.
All right, cheers.
What do you like about horror films?
I like being made jump because it's pretty good to have the suspense and like you know that something's coming, so it's like when it does happen you're like, oh my god.
How often do you watch horror films?
A lot. I wouldn't have an exact amount, just quite regularly because I enjoy them.
Who do you watch horror films with?
Usually just friends because then you feel protected. Because when you get scared you have someone to snuggle up with and you're like, oh.
Where do you usually watch them?
At home.
What other genres of film do you watch other than horror?
I quite like fantasy and action kind of stuff, like Hunger Games and that kind of thing.
What about horror films appeals to you?
They always have a better storyline to most films. It's more in depth than most films. Yeah.
What is the worst horror film you've seen?
The worst. There's quite a few. I can't remember what it's called.
Okay, and what is your favourite?
By what?
What's your favourite horror film?
Probably Insidious, because it's really good twists in it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're
Do you like horror films?
Yes, I do.
What do you like about them?
Suspense, I guess.
How often do you watch horror films?
Not as often as I might like to. Maybe once every 2 weeks.
Who do you watch horror films with?
My girlfriend or my family.
Where do you usually watch horror films?
Usually watch them at home.
Why?
Why? Because it's easy to watch them. I can get them on Netflix.
What other genres do you watch apart from horror?
Comedy. Watch quite a lot of comedy. Action. Thrillers.
What about horror films would you say appeals to you?
Appeals to me. I like being scared, I guess, but that goes without saying. If you like horror films and suspense, good build-ups, I guess.
What is the worst horror film you've ever seen?
The worst horror film, I think the one that freaked me out the most was the first time I ever saw Signs.
What is the best horror film you've ever seen?
The best horror film I've ever seen. That's a very good question. I don't know. I don't really have a favourite.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
What's your favourite horror villain?
My favourite horror villain is Freddy Krueger because I like the story behind his character.
What do you expect from a horror opening of a horror film?
I expect it to be jumpy and scary.
How do you think horror films can be improved?
More scary and sinister things.
How do you access your media?
I access my media by going to the cinema.
And your favourite horror location?
Nightmare on Elm Street.